Dynamite tonight was in Philadelphia, and I can honestly say that if Chris Jericho was not on the show tonight, this would have been a very mid show. And I know Jericho's a very polarizing figure these days. Some people absolutely hate seeing him. Some people still love him. Jericho has won me over with some of his more recent performances. He's had some really good matches. I'm digging the Ring of Honor story they're doing with him, and the main event tonight was Chris Jericho defending the Ring of Honor World Championship that he won last week on Grand Slam, defending it tonight against former Ring of Honor World Champion Bandido, who was making his very first appearance in AEW tonight. They at least had a video package, even though it was maybe all of 30 seconds, trying to explain who Bandido was to the people who don't know. And if you take that main event out of this show, I don't like this show nearly as much. So we had Jericho in the opening segment, we had Jericho in the closing segment, and I would say that Jericho saved the show for me. It was not a terrible show. It was very much a middle-of-the-road show, but that main event elevated it for me. I thought that was an excellent main event, with Jericho and Bandido going almost 20 minutes. The fans were into it. And as much for Bandido as anything that Jericho did, Bandido won that crowd over in Philadelphia tonight. They were into this guy. And of course, in the end, he fell short. He is not, in fact, the Ring of Honor World Champion. We had Juice Robinson making an appearance on the show tonight as well. His AEW debut going one-on-one with the new World Champion Jon Moxley in what they billed as a world title eliminator match. And again, they did point out the history between the two of them and the fact that Robinson is one of the very few people who can say that he has 2 wins over Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley does not lose very much in AEW. He lost to CM Punk. You can't really point out too many other times that Jon Moxley ate a loss this year. So at least they took the time to explain that. And I thought Juice Robinson also had a pretty good showing tonight, but Bandido stole the show in that main event. It does remind me, though, as much as I would love to see Bandido do more with them, and I think that Bandido in Ring of Honor would make more sense. Of course, they have to get a TV show going first, but Bandido being a former Ring of Honor World Champion, Ring of Honor might be the best place for him. Juice Robinson, I thought, did well enough tonight to at least earn another opportunity. Supposedly, he is a free agent. We'll talk more about that. I'm not quite sure what's going on there because I thought he was still signed to New Japan. But while the two of them deserve opportunities, I was left wondering, where is Miro? I was left wondering, where is FTR? There are certain people on this roster that we don't get the chance to see very often. And they were nowhere to be found. FTR, for example, was the hottest actor, one of the hottest acts in wrestling. And it feels like, aside from a backstage segment with Billy Gunn's sons last week, we've barely seen them. I know Dax is hurting. He's got a shoulder thing going on, a tear in his shoulder, but I'm not aware of there being any injuries that are keeping them out of action. How do you not have FTR on the show? Where are some of these other people, and what must they be thinking when they see Juice Robinson on the show and Bandido on the show? These guys who never set foot in an AEW ring before, and they're getting television time and they're not. This is one of the conundrums that Tony Khan now faces, but there are definitely some people who I'm sitting here going, where are they? Like, it's great to see some of these guys, but what about the other people they have under contract? What are they up to? But back to Chris Jericho here. The storyline that Jericho now is in, based on the ending of the show tonight, Jericho has made it his mission to tear down anything and everything Ring of Honor. Whether it's wrestlers, whether it's commentators, whether it's referees, whether it's ring announcers. Poor Bobby Cruz ate an elbow to the mouth at the end of the show. So this is the story they're telling now with Jericho. He is the Ring of Honor World Champion, but he is out to destroy everything Ring of Honor. And he issued a challenge at the very end of the show. AEW is finally coming to Canada next month. They're going to be in Toronto, and Jericho laid down the gauntlet to Bryan Danielson for a match October 12th on that Dynamite show in Toronto. So that was established at the very end. But I'm digging the Ring of Honor stuff. They're telling a long-term story here with him and Daniel Garcia. And I can honestly say that if you remove the Jericho stuff from the show tonight, this show is not nearly as good. So it's pretty incredible, because I was one of those people who not that many months ago was of the opinion that, you know what, it would be good for Jericho to just go away for a while, take a break, get him off television. He'll come back. Maybe he'll feel fresher. And now they've taken him and they've made him the face of this Ring of Honor. I call it Ring of Honor brand. It's not much of a brand because, again, they have no show. And they don't have very many independent storylines of their own. But they've, I think, taken him, and he's the right person in this role because they're trying to get something going with Ring of Honor. And I said it last week. It looks like they're doing with Jericho now with ROH what they did with him at the beginning of AEW when they put their world title on him. They wanted their championship on a name. They wanted their championship on somebody who they could establish as a top star that people knew. Tony Khan, I think, is trying to do the exact same thing now with Chris Jericho with the hopes that it might help get them a television deal with Warner. He's constantly having conversations. He claims positive conversations. They're not positive conversations until there's a television show. He can talk about positive conversations all day long. Until we get an announcement of an actual television show, they're only positive in his mind. The only positive result would be getting an actual TV show. And I think he feels Jericho is the person that he needs in that role in order to make that happen. For his sake and the sake of all the people that they have put on that Ring of Honor roster, I hope he is correct. Samoa Joe is another one. Ring of Honor television champion. Where's he at? At least we did see him at Arthur Ashe Stadium last week, but we don't get to see him enough. So, again, I don't know exactly what is going through the mind of a lot of these people who are not finding themselves on television very often. I can't imagine that many of them are very happy right now, though. Saraya. Saraya made her AEW debut last week in New York City. Got a big reaction in the building. I mean, the place was loud when she came out. And she told everybody, "This is my house," and she made the belt sign with her hands. And it looked like they were teasing something with her and Britt Baker. But the question still remained, is she going to wrestle? There was no indication given of whether or not she's going to actually wrestle a match. Reports came out that she's not cleared still, hopes to be, but she's not medically cleared. She came out tonight. She called herself the Revolution. "I am the Revolution," she said. How much of a revolution can you be if you can't get physical? How much of a revolution is she going to be for this company and for this women's division if she is not in the ring? The value in her is getting her back in the ring. And as of this week, that does not look like it is happening anytime soon. I believe it is going to happen. But it was very clear she did no physicality again from her this week. Very clear that if she gets back in the ring, it's going to be a while. She calls herself the Revolution. I will say this, the segment with her tonight was not good. She said she was nervous. She came across that way. I think she was shooting when she said that. Maybe it was nerves. Whatever it was, that wasn't a very good segment. Actually, it was better last week when she didn't say a word. She just came out. She's got like a certain physical charisma about her. Maybe it would be better for her in the meantime to just come out and pose instead of saying anything. I don't know. She at least looked like she was happy to be there. And she did, in fact, take a pot shot at her former employer, which, of course, in AEW, nobody passes up the opportunity to take a pot shot at WWE. It's just what they do. This is your AEW Dynamite review for Wednesday, September 28th, 2022. I am the Solomonster. This is the final Dynamite for the month of September. I do want to say here right off the bat, I hope everybody who is in the path of Hurricane Ian is staying safe. Very scary images coming out of Florida, and not just Florida, but other places as well. But very scary images coming out of this monster storm making landfall, Category 4 hurricane. That's not good. Tony Khan did make attendance at tonight's show voluntary. So to go back to what I was saying before, where's FTR? You know, I was naming certain people. I want to make it very clear, we don't know how many of those people may have voluntarily kept themselves off the show tonight because of the hurricane. But when I make comments like that, this is not a 1 week thing. I mean, anybody who tunes into these reviews and you watch Dynamite every week, it's not like a 1 week thing. There's a lot of people who have been missing from these shows. Wardlow, I could throw him out there. For this week, though, it's possible some of them may have chosen to stay off the show because of the weather situation. It is a life or death situation for a lot of people. Tony Khan did give them the option. He said anybody who's worried about their home, about their family, about traveling, if you're coming out of Florida, passing through there, you do not have to be on Dynamite. You do not have to come to TV this week. It is possible that a good number of those names chose not to come to TV this week. And that was the right move for him to make. So I hope everybody is staying safe, because there are things, believe it or not, in life that are more important than pro wrestling, and this is one of them. So shout out to all those folks. There was breaking news, unfortunately, non-wrestling breaking news that I noticed during the show tonight that I do want to make mention of here. I was very sad when I read this. For those who don't know and did not see the news, per TMZ, Julio passed away earlier today. Julio passed away in LA at the age of 59. The story says that he was visiting a friend late Wednesday afternoon when he passed away. His longtime manager says that Julio went to the bathroom at his friend's house. When he did not come out after a while, the friend kept calling him and there was no response. Eventually he went in and he found Julio laying on the floor. And TMZ is told that the friend called EMTs. They arrived. They pronounced Julio dead on the scene. And paramedics suspect that he suffered cardiac arrest, although the official cause of death has not yet been determined. Obviously, this man just passed away hours ago, so they don't know for sure, but it looks like cardiac arrest. And you're going to hear a lot of people talking about Gangster's Paradise. That's my earliest memory of anything related to Julio. I saw the movie Dangerous Minds with Michelle Pfeiffer, and that song exploded in popularity. The music video, it's a great song. I'm also partial, though, to Fantastic Voyage. I think Fantastic Voyage is also a very good song. So those are going to be the songs he's most well known for. But I was very sad to hear that Julio passed away very unexpectedly and still very young. 59 is very young. So that was very sad to hear. Hit the subscribe button. Super chats are open. I want you to hit me with them. Let me know what's on your mind. And let's see if we can get to at least 500 likes during the live stream tonight. We'll make that the goal for Be the Booker later. 500. First, though, because we got a lot to unpack here in this Dynamite recap here, I was holding up a little bit. The Mets were making it very interesting in the bottom of the ninth inning. Or top of the ninth, whatever inning it was. But it was a tie game. It looked like they were about to break it open. They were going to win the game, and then they didn't. So this team is keeping me on pins and needles here as we come down to the wire. Who's going to win the division? Mets or Braves? I don't know. But before we get into everything else, I want to thank our friends at Monk Pack for sponsoring tonight's review. I am a big fan of their product, as I have said before, and you will fall in love with the product too if you've never tried one of their granola bars or one of their nut and seed bars. I assure you, you should definitely give it a try. Not only does it taste good, it is good for you. And right now, I would like for you to take a look at exactly why that is. This episode is brought to you by our friends at Monk Pack. Monk Pack offers low-sugar, keto-friendly bars that are plant-based, gluten-free, and non-GMO, making them the perfect snack for anyone trying to eat better or cut back on sugar and carbs without sacrificing the taste. Because nobody wants to be eating anything that is going to taste like garbage. And you will not have to worry about that with this product. In fact, I've got my Monk Pack bar right here, and I'll be chowing down on this when we're done here. In fact, this is a good reminder for me because I have to order more. This is my last one. But Monk Pack Keto granola bars and nut and seed bars contain 1 gram of sugar, 2 to 3 grams of net carbs, and each bar contains about 150 calories. That's it. Their dark chocolate cocoa granola bars are amazing. Those are my favorites. If you love chocolate, believe me, you're going to love that flavor. They're so soft and chewy, which is what you want in one of these bars. You don't want to bite into a brick. You will not have that issue with these bars. I will admit, though, that in a moment of weakness, I may have cheated on them. I may have cheated on those bars with Monk Pack's peanut butter cocoa chip bars, because those are also very good. One thing they both have in common is that they are low in sugar compared to other granola bars that I've tried, and they don't have that nasty aftertaste that you usually get with a lot of low sugar items. They're also not just for people eating keto. I don't keep a keto diet myself, so this is not a keto-only product. I love the hell out of these things regardless. I just try to eat healthy. I try to have a healthy diet, and these fit right in perfectly with that. Monk Pack bars come in a variety of delicious flavors, like sea salt dark chocolate and caramel sea salt. They're perfect for a quick breakfast, or if you're trying to sneak in a quick snack at your desk. And when you shop online, you can have them delivered right to your doorstep. It's just that simple. Get 20% off your first purchase of any Monk Pack product by visiting monkpack.com and entering the code Solomonster at checkout, or just click the link in the description down below and get yourself 20% off. Monk Pack is so confident. They're so confident in their product that it is backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So what does that mean? Well, very simply, it means that if you don't like it for any reason, they will exchange the product or refund your money, whichever you prefer. They will give you the option. So don't waste any more time. Go ahead and visit monkpack.com, use the code Solomonster, and get yourself 20% off, and I am going to go eat. Monk Pack, thank you again for sponsoring the review tonight. Go ahead and support. You'll find the link down below. I was eating a Monk Pack bar while you were watching that. All right, Dynamite opened with a championship celebration for Chris Jericho, who won the Ring of Honor. I almost choked. I had some of that granola stuck in my throat. The Ring of Honor World Championship last week. I was there at Arthur Ashe Stadium, and the people in the building actually cheered when Chris Jericho won the title. And it hurt my soul for Claudio a little bit because I was enjoying his work as the Ring of Honor World Champion. And I will say there's something very weird about the fact that Claudio lost the Ring of Honor World title last week to Chris Jericho. And this week, he did make a brief appearance during one of the matches, had nothing to do with Jericho, but apparently he is just okay with not only losing the championship to Jericho, but losing it. Remember, Jericho low-blowed him in that match last week. He had to cheat to win. And there was no indication from Claudio this week that he intends to challenge Jericho to a rematch, that he wants a rematch for the championship. It's just, we're moving on. And I get why that is, because again, Tony Khan wants the Ring of Honor World title on Chris Jericho right now because he is a bigger name who gives more visibility to the belt, and they're telling the story with Jericho and Daniel Garcia. So if they did a rematch, obviously Claudio would lose, but I just think it's very silly to have him lose in the way that he did and not have him come out on TV or do a backstage promo or give any indication that, hey, Chris, I know what you did. Everybody saw what you did. I want my rematch. Nothing. Apparently he's okay with not getting one. So they all entered, all the members of the JAS entered here in this opening segment with purple gear. They were all decked out in purple velvet blazers. They looked like me at the House of Glory show last week, and I have my purple blazer on. So they're all in the ring. Angelo Parker gets on the mic and says, AEW Galaxy, appreciate us. Very cringy. Very, very cringy. The cringe continued here in this segment because we had Luigi the Pizza Guy. Luigi Primo was back. I thought we were done with this guy. I thought they gave him a 3-second cameo a couple of weeks ago, and that was the end of it, right? 3 seconds of comedy relief, which is about all that he's good for, and we move on. We have Luigi Primo back. Why are we still giving this guy television time? He said he was preparing some great New York City pizza, which got easy heat from the fans here in Philadelphia. Philadelphia, not exactly known for their pizza. New York is known for their pizza. Even Chicago is known for their pizza. Philadelphia is known for their cheesesteaks. They're known for the cheesesteaks. They're known for Rocky. They're known for ECW. They're known for their shitty baseball team. That's what Philadelphia is known for, not their pizza. Matt Menard said that there would be no pizza for anybody in the crowd, which led to a "We want pizza" chant. Jericho then finally spoke, and Jericho boasted about being the most visible Ring of Honor World Champion in history, which is, to be honest with you, is actually true. It's kind of sad, but it's actually true. And having more eyeballs on him in the past week than all of the previous Ring of Honor World Champions combined. He put over his opponent for tonight, former Ring of Honor champion Bandido, but said that a sports entertainer beats a wrestler every time. Sounds like something Vince McMahon would say. Jericho presented Daniel Garcia with a gift. Now, Daniel Garcia's out there looking like he would rather be anywhere but in the middle of this celebration. He looked very dejected at the way Jericho won the Ring of Honor World title last week, so this continued into this week. So he had a gift for Daniel Garcia. And he opened the gift box, and inside was a purple bucket hat. And Jericho put the hat on Garcia's head. Garcia looked like he was 5 years old, okay? He looked like he was 5 years old, as opposed to the usual 9 years old that he looks like every other week on television. Now he looked a little bit younger than that. He pulled the hat off. He threw it down. He punched out Pizza Douche, which got a nice cheer out of me. And Pizza Douche laid unconscious in the corner of the ring, not moving for the rest of this segment. Garcia said that this is not what he envisioned when he became a pro wrestler. He said he tolerated it, being part of this group. He tolerated it, but he's had enough. And Garcia said that he had something to tell Jericho, and it sounded like he was about to tell him that he was going to leave the group, but Jericho stopped him and said, "Look, I want you to think long and hard about what you're going to say before you say it. I want you to stop and think about what you're about to say." Jericho asked Garcia if he is a sports entertainer or a pro wrestler. Fans chanted, "You're a wrestler." And out came the consummate wrestler himself, Bryan Danielson, out to a nice reaction from the crowd. He came down to the ring before Garcia could give his answer. And Danielson walked out with William Regal, who stayed behind. He was going to do commentary for the next match. Danielson told Garcia that he respects him, and he's a grown man who can do whatever he wants. Danielson said Garcia could stay with the Jericho Appreciation Society, or he could join the Blackpool Combat Club. Jericho did his best Tony Khan impression, talking about Triple H, when he told Danielson here he's tired of Danielson trying to poach his guys, and Jericho claimed Garcia belongs to him and does what he tells him to do. Well, this was news to Daniel Garcia. He didn't like hearing that very much, and Garcia told Jericho that he doesn't belong to him, nor does he have to do anything that Jericho tells him to do. He is his own man. And then Garcia said, "But hey, we're supposed to be entertaining, right? So I suppose it would be entertaining if I just took this pizza box and threw it on the floor," because they had a table in the ring behind them with pizza boxes. So he took one of the pizza boxes and he threw it on the floor outside the ring. He said, "Well, we're supposed to be entertaining. I guess, maybe I should wake up Luigi, who's laying on the ground. And we'll flip pizza dough together. Maybe that would be entertaining." Then he looked over at the timekeeper's area. He said, "Hey, Justin Roberts, maybe if I teamed up with Justin Roberts, that would be entertaining. How about that?" And then he said, or asked the crowd, really, he's polling the crowd, if it would be entertaining if he was in a tag team with Bryan Danielson. And the fans chanted yes in unison, and Garcia said that it would be entertaining if he and Danielson teamed up and faced Jericho and Sammy Guevara. So now Matt Menard, good old Daddy Magic, he butted in here. He scolded Daniel Garcia and said for a year, because he and Angelo Parker, if you remember, they put the two of them together with Daniel Garcia when Garcia initially came in. He said, "For a year, we were with you, and we watched your back." He said that he would also like to punch Danielson in the face. Danielson said, "Well, it just so happens that when I was in the back, I was told that I could have a match with anybody who wanted to fight me. And it sounds like you want to fight me." So that set up the match. He said it would be the entertainer against the heart of professional wrestling. I don't know how many of you noticed in the background while all of this was going on, Ty Mello was sharing pizza with Anna Jay. The two of them were enjoying pizza. She was actually, I think she was feeding pizza to Anna Jay in the back. There's an OnlyFans joke in there somewhere. But I think she was feeding pizza to Anna Jay in the I was very distracted by it. I couldn't care less what they were saying. I was kind of trying to watch what was going on in the background there. So I thought, overall, this was, I thought, a fun opening segment. It furthered the story that they're telling with Jericho and Garcia. Again, I could do without Pizza Douche, but, the payoff here is Chris Jericho putting over Daniel Garcia for the Ring of Honor World Championship. Garcia is already the Ring of Honor Pure Champion. He will not be the Pure Champion forever. The payoff here should be, to tell the right story, Daniel Garcia being put over by the legend that is Chris Jericho, right? One of the biggest stars in the company. Jericho putting over Garcia. He becomes the champion, maybe joins the Blackpool Combat Club, which he probably should have been in since day one. Who knows how long they've had this story in mind for him. That's the longer term payoff here to this story. Because look, if this was now there's always the possibility. We can't discount the possibility that this could be a big swerve. I wasn't so sure going into All Out that it wasn't a big swerve. And Garcia might not cost Danielson the match. And they ended up not doing that, which was good. That was the right thing to do. But you just had an angle last week where Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker came back together. Now, whether they made up or it was a ruse the entire time, they probably just made up. But you basically already did an angle like that, where you were teasing that there was friction between these two people who were together, friends. And then it turns out, haha, we're still best friends. We're still together. You can't do the same angle with Jericho and Daniel Garcia. We already saw that. That is not the angle and the story to tell. The story to tell is exactly what they are doing, which is to try to get this kid over to that next level by having the established star in the end give him the rub and put him over. Not only are they having Chris Jericho give Daniel Garcia the rub to try to put him over, they have Chris Jericho and Bryan Danielson giving him the rub, talking him up, and trying to ultimately put him over. And that is the right thing to do. That is one of the ways that Tony Khan should be using their established stars to help elevate the existing ones. So I like it. I see the direction that they're going in with this, and I like it. I think it's a good story to tell. Now, we had Bryan Danielson against Matt Menard. They were already out there. When they cut back to the ring, because they had gone to a break and they came back, when they cut to the ring, they started playing Danielson's theme song, even though they were already in the ring, about to wrestle. They started playing Danielson's theme song again. And then very quickly, the audio guy cut it short. He cut the music off. And William Regal on commentary said the Music Man was off his nut. The Music Man is off his nut. And then he told Excalibur, man with the mask, you Rice Krispies treat you. You can snap, crackle, and pop me anytime you want. One of my favorite things on this show, this has become my favorite bit on the entire show, is listening to William Regal make Excalibur and Taz as uncomfortable as possible. William Regal has truly become one of the highlights of these shows every week. So Danielson also looked like he went a little too heavy into the cupping this week. We used to see Kenny Omega on Dynamite. And Kenny Omega at the time, he was wrestling hurt. He had all kinds of injuries. So he was having the cupping therapy. I'm not exactly sure what cupping does. I guess it relieves tension in the body or whatever it does. But he used to show up on Dynamite and have these like suction cup marks all over his back. Danielson had 2 of those. It looked like giant hickeys on his lower back. And that was it. There were no other marks on his back except these 2 on his lower back. So Danielson hit kicks to the chest until Angelo Parker pulled his partner outside to safety. This led to Parker distracting Danielson, and Menard was able to crotch Danielson on the ring post. Parker hit a DDT on the floor without the referee seeing it. This brought out Claudio. This was the appearance I mentioned earlier that Claudio had on this show tonight. Claudio comes out, big reaction when he comes out, and he mows down Parker with an uppercut. Then he picks him up over his shoulder in a kind of like a backbreaker, almost like a razor's edge position, and he carries him to the back like that. Somehow in all of this, one of Parker's sneakers went flying off. So he had, on one foot he had a sneaker, and the other foot he had nothing. I didn't see how it came off. Maybe when he got uppercutted, he uppercutted him right out of his shoe. So Claudio took him away. That was the last we saw of Angelo Parker. In the ring, Danielson ducked a lariat. He hit the running knee strike, and he got the label lock for the submission. Menard's only role here was to be the sacrificial lamb to Bryan Danielson. And to that effect, it served its purpose. That was exactly what it needed to be. They wanted to use him to feed a win to Danielson, which is something, frankly, he needs more of. And so this is exactly what it needed to be. We got a video package promoting Jon Moxley against Juice Robinson tonight. They push that Robinson is one of the very few who have beaten Moxley this year. And if he does it again tonight, he would become the #1 contender to the AEW World Championship and will get a title match next week in Washington, D.C. The match they were referring to, that last match where he beat Moxley, it was not a singles match. New Japan had a show back in D.C. Funny enough, D.C. Back in May. That was the Capital Collision show. That was when Juice won the United States, IWGP United States title. It was a 4-way match. So it was Juice Robinson, it was Hiroshi Tanahashi, Jon Moxley, and I forgot who the fourth person was, but Juice won that match. There was another match they had back in the G1 in 2019 where Juice also beat Mox. So again, 2 wins. In the time that Moxley has been in AEW, which goes back to 2019, this man has 2 wins in matches over Jon Moxley. And not too many people can say that. So I'm glad they aired a video package on this on TV. You know, this is the sort of thing they need to do more of on TV instead of doing it just on social media. They have their, control center videos they do, and they're very well done, and Tony Schiavone is part of those. But we need to see more stuff like this on TV, especially if you're bringing somebody in who has never appeared on this show before. You cannot just assume that every single person is going to know, A, who Juice Robinson is, and B, the fact that he has 2 wins over Jon Moxley. You need to air some kind of video package, whether it's a minute, whether it's 3 minutes, to establish who this person is and why we should care. So this is the sort of thing I'd like to see them be doing more of. We came back with a video package recapping what happened at Grand Slam last week with MJF and Wheeler Yuda. And MJF laying out Yuda with the Dynamite Diamond Ring. When they cut back to the arena, we were expecting MJF, but instead we had Yuda storming down to the ring. He was very pissed off. He was in a bad mood. No music. Grabbed the microphone, or he had a microphone in hand. He said he didn't have a problem with what MJF and his lackey, that being Morrissey, did to him last week. But throwing down Tony Schiavone, that crosses the line. Put your hands on Tony, that's a no-no. He said that MJF hides behind factions in the microphone, but he can't hang with Yuda. So MJF came out, and he was wearing a Tom Seaver New York Mets jersey. You see, this man right here has very good taste in baseball teams. He called Philly the place you live when you can't afford to live in New York. I got news for you. The people who live in New York can't afford to live in New York. Not exactly something I would be boasting about. So MJF asked Tony Schiavone, because he was on stage, and he looked over at the announcers, and he asked Tony, "Hey, Tony, how are you? How are you, you fat old prick?" He put over Yuda by mentioning their many battles on the independent scene, called him one of the best wrestlers in the world. Then he challenged Daddy on the mic. He had the audacity to challenge Daddy on the microphone. And so Daddy had to put him in timeout. Daddy had to give him a little bit of a spanking. He said at 26 years old, he makes more money than everybody in this arena. And Yuda cut him off and said that if MJF does not want to fight in the ring, he'll leave him in a pool of his own blood on Broad Street. See, he knows the streets because Yuda is from Philadelphia, so he's showing his street knowledge by naming the streets and the boulevards and the avenues and the ways and the town squares and whatever other words you want to come up with for it, because he's from Philadelphia, you see. So he knows the geography. Yuda went to go after MJF on stage, but before he could, out came Austin Gunn and Colton Gunn. MJF said that Yuda can wrestle him next week in the dump that is Washington, D.C. This segment I thought was fine. You know, like I said, Yuda is from Philly, so they wanted to give him some mic time. He is not MJF on the microphone. Few people are. Not even close. But I thought that he held his own well enough. And I want to say something about this. And this it goes back even to the Daniel Garcia thing that I was just talking about a few minutes ago. Because before I went live tonight, a little bit earlier on, I saw some people making comments and talking about this in the chat. To the people that I see, you know, making fun of the idea that, oh, what are you doing with this Yuda guy? He's so boring, you know. Nobody knows who he is. Nobody cares. He looks like a geek. Oh, he looks like a geek. Why is he on TV? Why is he working with MJF? People say the same thing about Daniel Garcia. Oh, he's boring. Who cares about Daniel Garcia? Why is he in the ring with Chris Jericho? Why is he in the ring with Bryan Danielson? I mean, you put Garcia and Yuda in the ring together in that main event a few weeks ago. Holy shit, these people were losing their minds. You have to understand something. For all the criticism that Tony Khan gets for building around so many ex-WWE guys, ex-aging WWE guys. We saw one in the main event tonight. He gets a lot of criticism for that. Pushing guys and stars like that he brought over from WWE at the expense of his own homegrown talent, who barely, in some cases, barely get any television time at all. And it's a valid criticism. What they're doing here in this situation, this is how you try to make new stars. MJF is a star. He's not an ex-WWE guy, but he's a star. He's a star that Wheeler Yuta is not. He's a star that Daniel Garcia is not. They're using MJF, well, for two things. Number one, they have time to kill before Full Gear. So he's going after a member of the Blackpool Combat Club, which is the faction that Jon Moxley happens to be a part of. So it actually makes storyline sense. That's number one. But they're using MJF to give some rub to Wheeler Yuta. Why do you think MJF on the microphone tonight came out and said, he actually paid this guy a compliment? How many times do we see MJF go on television and say, you're one of the best wrestlers in the world. I worked with you on the independent scene, and I can say you're one of the best wrestlers in the world. We don't see him doing that very often in his promos. He went out of his way to put this kid over before he fucking wrecked him on the mic. They're using MJF as a way to try to get Wheeler Yuta over a little bit more. That's the appropriate super chat, too, that pops up. The Bully the Clown. I see a lot of clowns who are arguing amongst themselves every single week. And I'm trying to put them in their place right now. Thank you, Bully. And thank you, Steven, for that super chat. But again, you can say the same thing about Daniel Garcia. They're using Chris Jericho and they're using Bryan Danielson, two of the biggest stars in this company, to try to get this kid over to that next level because they think he's really good. And guess what? In the ring, he is really good. And they put him with Jericho to try to get him to show more of his personality. And now he's in this full-blown storyline and he's got the crowds chanting, "You're a wrestler" at him because they want him to go with the Blackpool Combat Club. He's being torn between two worlds. They're trying to get him over. Jon Moxley is going to put MJF over for the AEW World Championship. MJF's already over, but MJF is a young guy, homegrown talent. In the end, the WWE guy is going to put him over. We have multiple examples of this going on as we speak on the AEW roster. You can't have it both ways. You can't in one breath say, oh, I want them to push new stars, But then when they try to push new stars, you say, oh, this guy, yeah, I don't like this guy. Tony, I don't know what Tony Khan is doing. I'm not saying you have to like Wheeler Yuta. Wheeler Yuta is not the most exciting guy in the world to watch. But every week he goes out there, and the hope is that by working with people like this, he'll get a little bit better and a little bit better. He'll develop more of a personality. We know he can go in the ring, personality-wise. They're trying to bring some more personality out of him. He came out tonight. He was all pissed off. He was trying to show emotion in his promo. I thought he did a pretty decent job. You know, again, he's not an MJF level promo. He never will be. But they're at least making the attempt to try to get some new faces over. You cannot say that the show is only filled with WWE people and that they're not trying to get over some of the younger talents. It might not be the younger talents that you want them to get over, which is fair. If you think that somebody else is deserving of that spot, we can have that conversation. That's a fair critique. But I think people just kind of say things without actually thinking. It's like the people who say that there's no stories in AEW. I've put them in their place before. It's a ridiculous, nonsensical comment to make. You may not like the stories that they're telling, but you cannot say that there are no stories, that it's only matches in AEW. It's just not true. You can't say that. It is not a valid criticism. Of all the criticisms you could levy at Tony Khan and this company, that is not one of them. So I applaud them at least trying to, get some of these less established younger names over. They are at least making some attempt to do that by using people who are bigger stars than them, which is what you should be doing. If I were a promoter, that's what I would be doing. We had Jon Moxley, the now 3-time AEW World Champion, in an AEW World Title Eliminator, taking on Juice Robinson. If Robinson wins, he gets a title match next week. MJF was up in the skybox with his poker chip, watching another Jon Moxley match tonight. Robinson attacked Moxley as he was coming over the barricade during his entrance. And by the way, just to go back to the point that I missed one more example I could have given you in what I just said. And it's unfortunate that it got fucked up because of an injury. But this is exactly what they were doing with Christian Cage and Jungle Boy. They were using Christian in a program with Jungle Boy, the ultimate result of which I'm sure would have been Jungle Boy getting one over on Christian. I think those two, if Christian was healthy, would have gone out there all out and had a fucking great match. Christian tore his fucking arm. He's going to be out for the next 8 months. It sucks, but injuries happen. Unfortunately, now they're going to have to drag this thing out. But that was what they were doing with Jungle Boy and Christian Cage, using Christian in a program that is, in the end, meant to get Jungle Boy over to that next level. Yet another example. Putting Sting with Darby. I mean, I could keep going here. You'll be shocked to know that Jon Moxley came up bloody in this match. I know. I couldn't believe it either. When I saw the blood trickling down his head, I thought to myself, man, there's something I've never seen before. Jon Moxley bleeding here in a match on Dynamite. But there it was. I don't think he bled the last 2 weeks. He didn't bleed in the match with Bryan Danielson at Grand Slam last week, which I legitimately was very surprised that neither one of them bled in the match last week. That showed great restraint on their part. So that's 2 straight weeks, I believe, of no blood from Jon Moxley. I guess he just reached his limit. It was 2 weeks too long. Robinson controlled Moxley during an ad break. Moxley was set up on a chair outside the ring, and Juice missed a cannonball off the apron and ended up crashing through a chair. Inside, Moxley dropped Robinson with a cutter for a close near fall. There was an ankle lock into an STF that led to a Robinson rope break until Juice got a thumb in the eye, hit a power bomb for 2. Moxley nearly got the Death Rider, but Robinson countered into Pulp Friction for another near fall. Robinson tried a reverse airplane spin. Moxley escaped out of it and got a cross arm breaker for the immediate submission. I like that. I like the fact they didn't just go with the Death Rider. They didn't go with the Bulldog Choke. It was more of a Bryan Danielson type finish. Where remember when Danielson first came into the company? Like late last year, we were seeing him in the run-up to the matches that he had with Hangman. he was winning every single match with a different move. No one Bryan Danielson match looked the same. He wasn't winning every week with the label lock or the running knee. He would always try to sprinkle in new things to win with. So it was nice. I like the fact that Moxley found a different move to use here to win this match. It was very noticeable, they gave Juice Robinson a lot. He took the majority of this match. So they went out of their way to make him look as good as they possibly could before he lost. And they talked about him being a free agent on commentary. And this was a little confusing to me because I know that they had done an angle where it looked like he was gone from the company. He was talking in interviews like, I'm done with New Japan. And then he showed up in New Japan and, he won the US title and it was like, okay, you got us. But now he's back to talking about how he's basically done with New Japan. He did an interview with Sports Illustrated and said that he is now a free agent and he is eager to wrestle more in the United States. He said, I am no longer representing New Japan, and I want that to be clear. I carried the New Japan flag for 7 years. I've got no unfinished business there. I sang that song, I danced that dance, and we've gone our separate ways. That is in the rearview mirror. I am totally free right now. I will fight whoever, wherever, and whenever I want, as long as it is the right match against the right opponent on the right night of the week. And I could have sworn I heard that he had signed a new deal with New Japan. So I don't know what to believe. I don't know if he's just pulling our chain. I don't know if what he's saying is 100% fact. I know his wife works in AEW. It would kind of make sense if he wanted to land in the same company and, work for the same company as she does. Because for a long time there, not only did they work for different companies, but I think they were in different parts of the world. I mean, obviously he was doing stuff in Japan. She was in WWE, NXT, and that's tough. This was right before they got married. It's a tough situation. So I can believe that he would want to be in AEW because his wife, works there. And I think tonight he made a good accounting of himself. So I would say that he at least earned another opportunity to come back. And, if not get signed, certainly to have another match on AEW television at some point. So Hangman Adam Page, his music hits. Out he comes. He walks to the ring. He had pink roses on his jeans. He was wearing a pink Dolly Parton shirt. Dolly Parton is a good human, so I'm not going to make fun of him for it. Dolly Parton is awesome. The two of them went face-to-face in the ring. MJF interrupted from up in his skybox, and he reminded them that they are not fighting each other for the right to become the AEW World Champion or to retain the AEW World title. They're fighting each other for the right to lose to him, which is 100% fact. They are fighting for the right to lose to MJF. And he teased cashing in his poker chip after their match that they're going to be having. That's October 18, right? That's the Tuesday night episode of Dynamite. That's in Moxley's hometown of Cincinnati. That's going to be the Moxley Hangman match. He teased cashing in his poker chip there. And then he used his catchphrase and he called himself a generational talent. And as he said this, we see Wheeler Yuta standing behind him up in the skybox. And he attacked MJF. He grabbed him. He threw him over a couch that was in the suite. Then he threw him out into the back row. They were brawling into the back row of the crowd. They were kind of hanging over the people there. Security pulled Yuta off of him. And MJF was whining about wanting him to be arrested. Hangman was still over big time with this crowd. If anybody was wondering if there would be any sort of fallout from the Elite stuff and it would, blow back on him, and I'm not sure why anybody would think that, but he was named in that press scrum. Remember, he was referred to as an empty-headed dumb fuck. So if anybody thought that he was going to come out and get booed or he was going to get empty-headed dumb fuck chants or anything like that, not the case. He is still very much over with this audience. When he comes out, I don't think he'll be as over when he's in Cincinnati against Moxley in a few weeks. But, MJF is not wrong when he says that they're fighting over the right to see who's going to lose to him. That's exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be Jon Moxley putting over MJF. The only question is, does it happen at Full Gear? Or do they wrestle at Full Gear but they actually have Moxley win. And they drag this out until next year, maybe at Revolution, and have MJF win there. I would think that MJF goes over at Full Gear. That is the right outcome. That really should be the only outcome to this, is Jon Moxley going to this next pay-per-view and putting over the future of this company, putting over MJF as the world champion in AEW. And then Moxley can finally go off and have his vacation. Hey, maybe his vacation, it could coincide with the holidays. Maybe Tony Khan will tell him, I want you to take off for the rest of the year. You've earned it. Take off the rest of the year. Enjoy Thanksgiving. Enjoy Christmas. And hell, if you want to work a match at the Tokyo Dome, January 4th, that's fine too. Because there's certain people I'm sure Tony Khan is not going to want to not have access to. He's going to want his guys here in the States and not over in Japan. But if anybody has earned the right, I think, to, if he wants to, have a match for New Japan at Wrestle Kingdom next year and just take some time off, it's Jon Moxley. But the end result of this will be MJF with that world title. So in the same vein as the Juice Robinson video package earlier in the show, we got a similar video for Bandido, putting him over as a former Ring of Honor world champion. There was some old commentary from Ian Riccaboni from a past show calling him, or not calling him, but comparing him to Rey Mysterio. So they were trying to put him over big. The problem is it was very quick. I mean, this was like blink and you missed it. Blink and you missed it quick. So it should have been a little bit longer. I do appreciate them, though, airing more of these videos on TV. So back from the break, Justin Roberts was in the ring to welcome to All Elite Wrestling Saraya. And they were very clear on commentary tonight that the proper way to say her name is Saraya. It is not Saraya, it is Saraya. She came to the ring and she says that she's damaged, but she's not broken. She said that she's here to create change in this women's division. She called herself the Revolution. And the crowd chanted, "This is your house." She said that she was nervous to be out there in front of all of them since it's been a while. But she said that AEW is officially her house. Then she admonished somebody at ringside. And I don't think they actually did. I think it was just part of what they wanted her to do in the promo. She was yelling at somebody as if they were giving her a time cue. I mean, but at this point, she was out there for like 2 minutes, right? I'm sure they budgeted a lot more than that for her. But she was saying to somebody, you're not going to count me down, or, don't tell me, how much time I have left or whatever. And then she said she's going to take as much time as she wants. And she said, you know what, the hell with it. Let's bring out the women's division. And out comes Toni Storm and Athena and Willow Nightingale, Sky Blue, and Madison Rayne. This apparently is the AEW women's division. Toni Storm, Athena, Madison Rayne, Willow Nightingale, and Sky Blue. What a lame women's division. That is not the entire women's division. That was a handful of random baby faces in Madison Rayne. So they came to the ring, though, and they joined Saraya inside. And Saraya introduced us to the interim women's champion, Toni Storm, who she said is finally being realized for her full potential, and called her the best women's champion that AEW has ever seen. That brought out Britt Baker, who took exception to that comment. Britt Baker came out with Jamie Hayter, Rebel, and Penelope Ford was with them as well. Not sure why, but there she was. Britt said that until she earns respect around here, all she is a catchphrase. She said that she is not sure if Saraya, see, there I go again. She's not sure if Saraya is actually someone who watches the show or not, but she is the face of this women's division. She said that she put her neck out for All Elite Wrestling, and unlike hers, her neck is actually strong enough to handle it. She said Saraya made such an impact that half the people in the arena have no idea how to pronounce her name. And Saraya said that you want to make fun of my name when your name rhymes with shit. And they muted the word shit. which I didn't mention this, but they did the same thing earlier when MJF was speaking. He said the word shit at one point, and they censored it. They muted the word shit. First time that I've heard them doing this on Dynamite like this. So it looks like what Jim Ross said on his podcast this week was true. Jim Ross was on Grilling JR, and he made a comment that they're going to be cleaning up their language on the show. So it looks like this was the first sign of it. Now, they're still going out there and they're dropping the naughty words, but it looks like they're going to be censoring it from now on. So as Britt was talking, the crowd started drowning her out with a chant of Jamie Hayter. They were chanting for Jamie Hayter. And she was smiling. Jamie did. She obviously was not expecting that chant, but she was very happy to hear the crowd chanting for her. I hope Tony Khan is listening. Doesn't look like it, but I hope he is. You know, what they did last week, just putting her back with Britt Baker, just putting them right back together. What a huge step back. What a huge step back that is for Jamie Hayter. And I can only hope, there is a way for them, by the way, to correct this. There is a course correction here. And I'm hoping that this is why they did what they did, but at this point, with this whole Jamie Hayter thing, I'm just not even going to give them the benefit of the doubt. But I'm hoping that they can use this whole Saraya thing as a way to drive a wedge, a real wedge this time. Especially if we have more crowds chanting for her over Britt Baker. If Saraya really wants to fuck with Britt Baker, she can bring that up. And she can point out that, you don't need her. These people want her. They don't want you. They're cheering for her. They're not cheering for you. And they can use her to drive a wedge between them, which only furthers the heat between Britt Baker and Saraya. So I'm hoping that's the direction that they are going in with this. Otherwise, we're just right back to square one with this Jamie Hayter stuff. Standing in the background, standing in the shadows of Britt Baker, as she's been doing now for well over a year. Britt told Toni Storm, one misstep from you tonight, and we'll be hearing the words, and new. And then she introduced Toni's opponent for tonight, challenging her for the championship, Serena Deeb, who walked out and joined Britt and the heels at ringside. Saraya told them to cut the music and said that she talked to Tony Khan earlier. And it's nice to have a boss who actually listens to me. And they agreed that this match tonight would be a lumberjack match. So then Saraya left the ring. She walked right by the heels outside on her way to join the announcers for the next match, which was Toni Storm against Serena Deeb, lumberjack match. Or if this were a WWE, it would be a lumberjill match for the interim AEW Women's World Championship. Let's talk about this promo for a second before we get to the match. Paige came out there and she said that she was nervous. So that may have been a shoot. That may have had a lot to do with it. She was really shaky on the microphone. This was not, this whole segment was no good. But she was clearly very shaky on the microphone. Even the exchange with Britt and the little back and forth there wasn't very good. And again, noticeable, no physicality for Saraya for the second week in a row. I didn't expect her to be in there throwing suplexes, but it's very clear that she is not medically cleared. Hopes to be, I'm sure she does, but she is not medically cleared to wrestle. There's been no indication of that whatsoever. And you know what? She can come out here and they can have her on television every single week, coming out and saying, I'm the revolution, and I'm the agent of change here in this women's division, and now things are going to be different because I'm here. And, she can come out and say all those things. She needs to do more, though, ultimately, than come out and cut promos every week if she is going to, lead to real change in this women's division. She can't revolutionize anything in this company unless she's actually a part of storylines and she can get physical and she can wrestle. And there was a report earlier today from Fightful that she has agreed to a 3-year deal, and that for the amount of money that they signed her for, they didn't give a dollar amount, but they said for the amount of money that she is signed for, it, and I quote here, largely implies that she will be wrestling in some capacity. Now, I thought that was pretty clear last week from the way they did that segment when she came out, and they really focused in on Britt Baker and facial expressions that she was making at ringside, and they would cut back and forth between Britt and Saraya, there I go again, Saraya, and go back to her and Britt. And it seemed pretty clear to me that was the first little sign there that we were going to ultimately get something with the two of them that would lead to a match. So I came away from last week's show thinking that they were setting up for an eventual match between the two of them. I do believe that she probably is not medically cleared yet. But I think that in the end, she will be. And I think that we will see her wrestle. I think we will see her wrestle Britt Baker. I think that's going to be the match, if not at Full Gear, then I think by Revolution. If not Full Gear in November, I think by Revolution in March or late February, whenever it is, I think we'll have a match between Saraya and Britt Baker. I think that is the ultimate direction that they are aiming for here. But she did not do anything physical at all tonight on this show. So the crowd was pretty loud for a lot of things on this show up to this point. They were. This was actually a pretty animated, I thought, Philadelphia crowd until we got to the women's match. And then they died. I mean, you could hear the air conditioning in the arena. Like it was, at least on television. I don't know how it was in the building. Well, you Philly folks can write in and let me know. But on TV, it was very noticeable the crowd died at the beginning of this match. Storm blocked the Dragon Screw into a roll-up. Serena countered into a sit-down neck crank. Toni countered into a roll-up of her own. Jamie Hayter tripped her up and pulled her outside. Sky Blue got knocked down by Jamie Hayter, who was chased off by Willow. Willow! How could I forget about Willow? See, Jeff Hardy wanted to be Willow. Then he fucked it all up. Now he probably will never get to be Willow on AEW television. You won't get to hear me every week come on here and talk about Willow. Anyway. So Deeb sank in the Serenity Lock. Toni Storm got a rope break. She tried for the Deeb Tox, but Storm got a backdrop. Serena rolled through a top rope crossbody and got a single leg crab, Lance Storm style. Deeb was sent to the corner. Toni hit Storm 0 for a very close 2 count. And Deeb got a dragon screw out of the corner, went to the top, but Toni Storm cut her off with an Avalanche Storm 0, a pile driver. She stuck her from the middle rope. And thankfully, Serena Deeb did not kick out because I would have just turned the show off at that point. So it looked brutal, and she won the match with it. She's going to kill somebody with that pile driver one of these days. But anyway, the match itself I thought was good. The Lumberjack stipulation added absolutely nothing to this match. Absolutely nothing. So the match was good in spite of the Lumberjack stipulation. And I will tell you that as a general rule, just in wrestling, Lumberjack matches suck. The Lumberjack stipulation in general sucks. So I don't know, I'm trying to think in my mind, what was the last really good Lumberjack match that I can remember watching that I thought was actually fun and was really good? It might have been Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. I think it was at SummerSlam. I want to say 2018, but it could have been 2017. Pretty sure it was 2018. I remember them having a very enjoyable Lumberjack match, but after that, the well runs dry. I have no idea. If you ask me to put a top 3, a top 3 list or a top 5 list of the best Lumberjack matches, I mean, fuck, I give you that one, and right now that's the only one I can give you. I'm sure there's been a few others, but that's the only one I could think of. So in the back, we have the new AEW Tag Team Champions, the Acclaimed, along with Billy Gunn. They were being interviewed by Tony Schiavone. They said that next Wednesday is National Scissoring Day, whatever the hell that is. Was it 2014? Wow. Okay, I guess it was even. I thought it was a little more recent than that. You know what? You're probably right. That was during the Rollins run with the Authority, so that would have been 2014. Man, I was only off by about 4 years. So, I was close. But that was a very good match. So next week is National Scissoring Day. They also mentioned having an open contract for Rampage. Keith Lee showed up. He said that Swerve Strickland was not here tonight because he was very upset over Billy Gunn getting involved and costing them the tag team titles last week. Lee walked away, and Billy said that he had 2 words for him: scissor me. And then he and Bowen scissored each other. You know, the Acclaimed last week winning the tag team titles was a huge moment. And people were waiting for it. They were dying for it, especially coming out of All Out. They wanted to see those 2 win the tag team titles in the worst way. And they did. And it was a big moment in Arthur Ashe last week. And they shot confetti into the air, right? It was a big moment, big crowning moment for the Acclaimed. So we come to Dynamite here this week, and this is the best that they could come up with for him. Now, I understand that they're taping Rampage tonight, so the live crowd is going to get to see them wrestle. But we didn't get to see them. We didn't get to see them even have a segment in the ring. We had them in a backstage segment for all of 60 seconds. This is the best they could come up with for one of their hottest acts on the show, 1 week removed from them winning the tag team championship. Backstage, we had the Butcher and the Blade having an argument with Private Party. Andrade and Jose, they tried to calm them down. Of course, they're all members of the Andrade family office, which I can't even believe is still a fucking thing in this company. My God. Is this even still a faction? I thought we were done with this Andrade family office stuff. So he's trying to calm the situation down here. And Jose said that, look, talking to Private Party, he says, Andrade is in charge. If they don't like it, shape up or ship out. And they walked off. So Private Party now is about to walk off also. And Tony Schiavone stops them and says, look, guys, I got to say something here. I normally don't get involved. And before Tony could say what he was going to say, Matt Hardy interrupts. And fuck, I wanted to hear what Tony Schiavone was about to say. I feel like Tony Schiavone was about to give us the best pep talk that we have ever seen here on this show. He was about to probably have this amazing speech. And then Matt Hardy interrupts. I was far more interested to see what Tony Schiavone was about to say than anything Matt Hardy could possibly say. So Matt Hardy interrupts, and he talks to Private Party, and he says that, look, I want you guys to know, I'm going to be here for you if you wanted to join forces once again. Yes, because that worked out so well for them the first time. I'm sure Matt Hardy is exactly the person that Private Party needs to be chatting up here on this show. Matt Hardy has absolutely nothing to do. I feel like Matt Hardy is just randomly meandering around in the back, right? He had a match a few weeks ago on TV. Who is it that he wrestled? I don't even remember who the fuck he got in the ring with. He had a match a few weeks ago against somebody. Like, no direction whatsoever. It's just like, I'm here, I have nothing to do, and his character is just kind of aimlessly wandering around, waiting for his brother to come back. He has nothing to do until Jeff Hardy comes back. So we have a bunch of random Matt Hardy appearances while he waits for Jeff to come back, who frankly should not be back anytime soon. That situation remains unresolved, and him just coming back and just what he's back without there being any kind of penalty for what happened the last time would be fucking ridiculous. So maybe he shouldn't be hanging around waiting for his brother to come back, but they have nothing for Matt Hardy to do. We had Ricky Starks one-on-one with Eli Isom, who seemed like he was starting to get a push in Ring of Honor before Ring of Honor got bought out by Tony Khan. And if he's getting any kind of a push, he's certainly not getting a push now. He didn't last but a full minute here with Ricky Starks. He got a quick splash in the corner, but that was about it. Ricky came back, hit the Rochambeau, less than a minute in. Thank you for coming, Eli Isom. We will see you possibly at some point down the road. The main event was Chris Jericho defending the Ring of Honor World Championship against Bandido. We had a silly handshake with Bandido and Jericho as part of the Code of Honor. Jericho was acting like a goof. He was wiggling his fingers around, and he ended the handshake by flipping him the bird. And Bandido's reaction was great. Bandido, one of the highlights of the match was he got Jericho up in a position for a vertical suplex, and he held him there. And the longer he held him there, he was trying to hold on to him, and he was kind of leaning, but he had Jericho up while the crowd counted along. They counted to about 30 before he finally dropped him with this vertical suplex. When he hit about 25 seconds in, the crowd all rose to their feet and they were giving this guy a standing ovation. And then he finally dropped Jericho for the suplex. A short time later, Bandido came off the middle rope into a code breaker from Jericho, but he only got 2. Bandido had some blood coming through the mouth area. Bandido has that white mask on. He looks like, what is he? He reminds me of, he looks like a duck. So anyway, he had some blood coming through the mask, and Excalibur wondered on commentary if he might have a broken nose. Who knows what's going on under there? Who knows? I mean, maybe he had some strawberries before he came out to the ring, and he was fucking throwing up strawberries. We don't know, because the guy wears a mask. We have no idea what's going on. So, Bandido hit a Hurricane Rana from the apron as they went to commercial, took Jericho all the way to the floor. This crowd was into Bandido. I mean, everything he did, every high spot, every big move, every near fall, they were on their feet. They were into this guy. And again, his first time ever appearing on Dynamite. For a moment, I will lie to you, because we've had people come and go so many times. When they had that match all those weeks ago, it was Andrade, it was Rush, and I thought for a moment it was Bandido. When I thought back, I said, wait a minute, didn't we see Bandido on TV a few months ago in the main event of Dynamite? I was thinking, I think it was Dragon Lee that I was thinking of. But it reminded me of what happened at the end of that match when Andrade and Rush, they ripped the mask off of him. And it was so quick, and they were running out of time, and they just went right off the air. But there was no follow-up to it. And that's one of my other gripes with this, is that when they bring these people in, not only did they do a poor job of explaining exactly who they are and why we should give a shit, but they would do an angle like that and not really follow up. And it's like, oh yeah, I remember that. I had forgotten that they ripped the mask off the guy, and it led to absolutely fuck all here on this show. But that was not Bandido. Bandido did not have his mask ripped off. Bandido performed a sunset bomb from the middle rope, got a near fall. And Jericho came back with a lion salt for 2. Jericho threw knee strikes to the face of Bandido, who rallied with a crucifix bomb. Bandido went for the X-knee, which is basically his version of a GTS. Jericho stuffed it, though, put Bandido in the walls of Jericho, and Bandido got to the ropes. Jericho acted like he had won, so he thought he had won the match, and Aubrey Edwards said, not so fast. Jericho suplexed Bandido, and then went to the ropes, but he got cut off with an enziguri. Bandido joined Jericho on the ropes and then hit his top rope fall-away slam moonsault. Big reaction. Bandido slowly crawled on top of Jericho, who kicked out at the last possible moment. And Bandido hit the X-knee flush. And then Jericho was in the ropes. It's always obvious that he's setting up for the 21-plex when the guy goes into the ropes, like when Rey Mysterio is wrestling somebody and they end up on the second rope, right? The 619 is coming. So he went and hit the 21-plex finish, which got a big reaction. Jericho kicked out. Jericho was giving this guy a lot. I said earlier how Moxley gave Juice Robinson quite a bit in his match. Jericho gave this guy a lot more than that. Jericho poked Bandido in the eyes, and Bandido caught him, though, with an inside cradle for 2. Jericho came back with the Lion Tamer, and Bandido had no choice but to tap out right around the 18-minute mark. And again, I love the Lion Tamer, old school Lion Tamer, WCW Lion Tamer, knee right in the neck, wrench back, looks painful as all hell. And Bandido gave up. After the match, Jericho called Bobby Cruz, the Ring of Honor ring announcer, back into the ring. He had something to say. He said the Ring of Jericho era has begun. That's his new thing now. It's the Ring of Jericho. He said that he's changing what Ring of Honor is. He will desecrate its legacy. He will destroy its legends. He is going to destroy every single Ring of Honor champion that there has ever been. He challenged Bryan Danielson for a Ring of Honor championship match on October 12th. That's when Dynamite comes to his home country of Canada for the first time. They're going to be in Toronto. He challenged him to that. He said that he will destroy every Ring of Honor commentator, every Ring of Honor referee, even ring announcers. And he hit poor Bobby Cruz with the Judas effect to close out tonight's show. So that was a banger of a main event. And it really was a, I would say a star-making performance. I say star-making, not that Bandido isn't a star. Among wrestling fans who know who he is, he's a star. But on the big stage like that, and he's been on Impact, but I mean, give me a fucking break. I'm talking about the big stage here. I'm not talking about a show in front of 100 fucking people. This was a star-making performance on a major national platform here. The biggest of his career, certainly in this country, for Bandido. He went out there and he fucking killed it in that match. And kudos to Jericho, because it takes two to tango. These two that went out there, they worked well together for almost 20 minutes. They had the crowd cheering for Bandido every near fall. Was it the fact that they loved Bandido, or that they just really badly wanted to see Jericho lose that title? I think it was a combination of both. So credit to both guys. They went out there. They had an excellent main event. I like the angle that they're doing with Jericho, but my question is this, and I put this question to the chat even, because I know not everybody is a Ring of Honor fan. How many others are going to care that Jericho wants to blow up all things Ring of Honor? This is now his story. He has made it his mission statement. I am going to desecrate the legacy and the history of Ring of Honor. I'm going to beat every champion. I'm going to beat every commentator, every referee. Right? He went through the whole thing. How many people are going to care when it comes to Ring of Honor? You guys going to kill Ring of Honor? Okay, let him. Who cares? We'll see if the numbers reflect it. We'll see when the ratings come in, not just this week, but in the weeks to come, and how his segments do. His segment with Bryan Danielson, when they had their match on TV a few weeks ago, did pretty damn good. They did about 1.2 million viewers. Are people going to care as much about what Jericho is doing now on the Ring of Honor front? That's the thing I wonder about. I don't think they're going to care nearly as much about that. I have my doubts for a brand that, again, still does not have its own dedicated TV show. And until it does, I just think it's going to be very difficult for people to invest and to find a reason to have that brand attachment and that brand loyalty. And, they may just say, well, if Jericho wants to destroy all things Ring of Honor, then let him. I don't give a shit. So I think that's going to be a bit of a challenge for them. Rampage this week, which I'm looking at this card now, and I can just tell you right now, it's going to be a SmackDown only review on Friday this week. Rampage has John Silver against Roosh. The Acclaimed are going to defend their tag team titles against the Butcher and the Blade in Private Party. Willow takes on Jamie Hayter. Hook will appear, and Lee Moriarty will take on Fuego del Sol. So we will be doing a SmackDown review at 10:20 on Friday night. Dynamite next week is the anniversary show. It is the anniversary. It's going to be 3 years from the very first airing of AEW Dynamite. MJF takes on Wheeler Yuta. We have National Scissoring Day with the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn. Luchasaurus will be in action. Darby Allin takes on Jay Lethal. Bryan Danielson and Daniel Garcia will take on Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara. And that is your Dynamite lineup for next week. Here's the Insta poll from Twitter tonight with over 1,000, almost 1,100 votes in now for Dynamite. You guys have given Dynamite tonight a much poorer score than you have given it in other weeks. 53% of you have given this show a thumbs up. 24% thumbs in the middle, 22% thumbs down. That's got to be one of the worst Dynamite scores that we've had in the Twitter poll. So I guess people were not very enamored with the Ring of Honor stuff on this show. See, this goes to the question I just asked all of you. How many people are really going to care about the Ring of Honor stuff? If this poll is any indication, maybe not too many. Very curious what the rating is going to be tomorrow. Was there anything on TV tonight? I'm trying to think if there was anything big on TV tonight. that people might point to as an excuse for a bad number tomorrow. I don't think there was. But we shall see. And before I get into your super chats, find out what you guys think about this Ring of Honor stuff and the rest of the show tonight, I do want to let you guys know about this. Last Saturday night, House of Glory had its Genesis show at the NYC Arena in Queens, and we had the very first ladder match in Ring of Honor history for the Crown Jewel Championship between Cashflow Ken Broadway, the challenger, and the champion, the root of all evil, Charles Mason. And these guys went out there and they killed it. They had an excellent main event. Those of you watching on Fight TV, I'm sure, saw the whole thing. If you have not seen it, and if you have never seen a House of Glory match at all, you are in luck, because this main event has been posted for free to the House of Glory official YouTube channel as of this afternoon. And so you can go give that a watch. I had the great honor of being able to call that match along with JD from New York and our partner in crime, Dr. Hillary P. Wisdom. And if you've never heard us or me do commentary before, I'd love to have you go check it out. You can leave some comments on the video. But it's a great match. And these two guys, they went out there and they killed it. And hopefully we did them justice on commentary. So go check that out on the House of Glory YouTube channel. It is up right now for your viewing pleasure. Well, not right now. Do it when we're done here. Let's finish up here, and then you can go check it out. Also, next Wednesday, not only are we going to do Dynamite next Wednesday, but next Wednesday at 1 o'clock Eastern, you're getting 2 streams from me next week, because at 1 p.m. Eastern lunchtime, next Wednesday, is the next watch-along here on YouTube. It'll be open for everybody, but the chat will be members only. So if you are not a channel member, you will not be able to be a participant in the live chat, interacting with me. But we are doing the Hell in a Cell watch-along for the very first Hell in a Cell match ever between Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker of Bad Blood 25 years ago, next Wednesday to the day. 25 years ago. I remember that night very well. I was not home. I was away. I was down in Florida. And I was calling up wrestling hotlines, trying to get updates on everything that was going on. That's how I found out that Brian Pillman died. That is a night that I will never forget. We're going to watch that match and the debut of Kane. So I'm actually looking forward to this a lot. I have not seen this match in many years. It's one of my favorite matches. One of my favorite matches that does not involve Bret Hart. How about that? So we'll do that watch along next Wednesday at 1 o'clock. And I expect to see you all there. I don't care. I want to hear that you're at work. I don't want to hear that you're in school. Play hooky. Or if you're sitting at your desk doing your job, you could watch on your phone. You could join us. I mean, if you're a doctor or something, then obviously I don't want you watching the watch along if you're in the middle of fucking brain surgery. But otherwise, I expect you to be there. You have no excuse not to join us next week. All right, let's check out your super chats and let's see what you guys have to say. I'm being told that we're only about 100 likes away from Be the Booker, so we'll see. We'll see if we make it tonight. Del Fuego, hopefully the power stays on for Dynamite. So far, just light rain and wind. Greetings from Florida. Well, Del Fuego, yeah, you and everybody else down south. Hopefully you still have power. Hopefully you guys are safe. I saw some of the images on TV, and those winds, I mean, the rain is bad enough and the flooding, but those winds are fucking terrifying. So please stay safe. Brian Becerra, Prince Pajama Party to kick off Dynamite. Purple rain all over the ring. Yeah, I think that's what they were going for. EJ Slemp, it was awesome seeing Juice Robinson tonight. We are both from Joliet, Illinois, so every time he wrestles and I hear my hometown, I feel proud. Did I say that right? Is it Joliet? I think it's Joliet. Is it Joliet or Joliet? I think it's Joliet, Illinois. I've never been there, so I don't know. Dr. Dakota Scorpio, rest in peace, Coolio. Also, I predict that within 1 year, we will get a Women's Blood and Guts. AEW's Women's evolution is here 3 years late, but it is here. I don't see any evidence that it's here. I mean, why? Because Saraya is here? Because she said so? Because she said she's the revolution? They have to show us exactly what that looks like. They have done absolutely nothing to indicate to me that there's any kind of women's evolution or revolution at all. It's all just talk. It's all just nonsense until they actually show us something, which they still have nothing. I don't think we are going to get a women's blood and guts in the near future. Boots. I mispronounced it as Sarah. Yeah. Also, Ty Mello feeding pizza to Anna Jay was kind of hot. We've got deep, delicious chicken with flavor. Good Dynamite show tonight. After watching Mandy Rose on NXT yesterday, her beauty turned this dried chicken without flavor into a delicious chicken. Look at that. Mandy Rose has breathed new life into dried chicken, and dried chicken is no longer dry. Dried chicken is now moist. He is now wet. It was great. It was a great run as a dried chicken, he says. Now this chicken here needs to be cooked, grilled, fried, or moist. I think you're definitely moist right now. And I can't blame you after watching Mandy Rose. I mean, I can't say that I disagree. Flamethrower, what's going on, brother? Just hope my fellow Floridians are staying safe. We've gotten 7 inches of rain so far. And a ton of tree limbs are down in the yard. Stay away from windows. I definitely, I don't want to hear that anything came busting through the window. Internet Explorer user 2014. That's a very specific username. Just saw that you hit 700 episodes this past weekend. Just wanted to say congrats. Do we think Roman beats Daniel Bryan clean on Friday? Is he going to AEW? So, ladies and gentlemen, in the time machine, we have Internet Explorer user from 2014 dropping a super chat. That year is a little off, though. That year is a little bit off. It's more like Internet Explorer user 2020, not 2014. Yes, I think Roman will beat Daniel Bryan. And I think there's a pretty good chance that Daniel Bryan will end up in AEW. A little behind on that super chat. Queen Fire Panda, fun question. Who are the 5 of us in the chat that you would put in a stable to take over House of Glory? And what would the stable name be? Well, we had a faction in WWE that didn't last very long called Sanity. So I think for the folks in the chat, I think we put the word in front of that. I think we call you guys Insanity. And it would probably, well, I mean, obviously, you know, we have to have Fire Panda in there. So we have to put Bulu. We haven't heard from Bulu in a little while. I hope Bulu's doing well. Bulu Fatulu. We'll put Bulu in there. We got to put Uthman in there. He's holding down the fort every week in the chat. So there's 3 right there. Bliss Fan, is Bliss Fan here? I think Bliss Fan would go to battle. I think Bliss Fan would end up kicking everybody's ass. I think Bliss Fan would impress a lot of people. I think Bliss Fan would surprise a lot of people. And Luis. I think if Luis came out with a microphone in his hand cutting promos, we would just, I think all of the House of Glory roster would just automatically submit. I don't think that they could handle that. Shin Akuma, did you know when the wrestler's eyes are closed, that is the finish of the match? Hope I'm not spoiling any future outcomes. You mean when they're not looking up at the referee to see where they are in their count? Joseph Brooks with the $9.99. Buy, rent, or sell. On which of these cell structure matches in order did you like the most? First Hell in a Cell, War Games 92, and the first Elimination Chamber. I gotta go first Hell in a Cell, War Games 92, and first Elimination Chamber in that order. I think you hit the order right on the head. Rodimus Prime caught the last few minutes of the show. Jericho and Bandido was excellent. It was a very good match. Really, it was an excellent main event. It really made the show for me, honestly. You take that match out of the show, I think this is a pretty weak show. David Hart, agree with Miro, but FTR are traveling to the UK for a New Japan show against Aussie Open. So that would explain FTR this week. That doesn't really explain FTR, though, leading up to All Out. And immediately coming out of All Out. It's more than just a week. It just feels like their momentum on this show is just kind of stalled because we're not seeing them as much as we should. But that would explain why they were not on the show tonight. Epsilon Sama, shout out to Aaron Judge getting that 61st home run. So there you go. Congrats to Aaron Judge. Do we have an update on my Mets? Do we know what happened with the Mets? Uffman Entertainment, Mets win. Oh, there we go. I should say I spoke too soon. Mets win in 10 innings and the Braves lose in 10 innings. Let's go Mets. Also, rest in peace to Cooley. See, that's the best news that I got all night. Not only did the Mets win in 10 innings, the Braves lost in 10 innings. That makes my night. Thank you, Uffman, for the update. That's what I want to hear. Reaganomics 813. The past few weeks, it's felt like every segment has gone longer than necessary. Would love to see Toni lighten or tighten things up so others can get some time. Yeah, I assume one of the segments you're referring to is that Stokely Hathaway segment from a few weeks ago. Deep delicious chicken with flavor. If the talks broke down with Warner Brothers Discovery, AEW Ring of Honor should negotiate a deal with Amazon. Also, rest in peace, Coolio. They should negotiate a deal with whoever is going to give them the most money. If they have offers, they take the one that's going to offer them the most money. That's just business-wise. That's what makes sense. Carl the Crab, $5 super chat. It's my 22nd birthday in an hour. One birthday gift Tony Khan could give me is properly booking the women's division and pushing Jamie Hayter. So you hear that, Tony Khan? You will make Carl the Crab's birthday if you push Jamie Hayter and focus more on the women's division. You will make Carl a very happy crab for his birthday. I'm not asking Tony Khan to give Carl crabs. I'm simply asking him to make this crab very happy on his birthday. Bob the Builder. Andrade definitely needs more time. It is criminal. I agree. Jacob Donnelly, no disrespect to the Ring of Honor World title, but it is weird that it feels more important on AEW television than the TNT title. Yeah, Wardlow is an afterthought on this show. I mean, they have dropped the ball with Wardlow, man. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. I really don't. That guy should be on television every single week. There is no excuse for him not to be on television more than he is right now. And there's no way that he is happy with the position that he is in. There's no way. Deep delicious chicken with flavor. Luigi Primo will find his Mario suit. Yeah, I can't wait. Daniel Carlisto, how would you book the perfect Darby Allin championship win? Well, I believe once upon a time I pitched the idea that when MJF wins the AEW World title, the person to beat him for that title eventually should be Darby Allin. They have history together. You remember the last match they had was Full Gear, I believe, last year. I think they opened that show. They fucking tore it up. I mean, they killed it. And I think there's a story there. Two of the young pillars of this company coming back together at some point down the road. They are, I said then, these guys, the match they had on that pay-per-view to open the show one day, on a pay-per-view, they're going to close the show with a main event like that. I think Darby Allin is going to be in the conversation as one of the men who can take the AEW World Championship from MJF. And that won't be for a very long time. But I do think that that is absolutely something that we may see. Is Darby winning his first world title off of MJF. Definitely not the last time that those two are going to be together on a pay-per-view. We've got Steven Chappa with that earlier $30 Bully the Clown super chat. It's because these people are clowns. Well said. I don't even remember what people you were referring to. I assume you're talking about the people I was referring to when I talked about, them wanting Tony Khan to not just push ex-WWE guys, but then complaining when they push young talents. Isaiah Johnson, I'm in the building. That MJF segment was amazing. I was right in front of them. Oh, you're talking about up by the skybox. Well, that's awesome. Lakers Pats won. You look excited for the NWA title main event. Yeah, I heard that fucking Tyrus is going to be in another NWA championship. This fucking guy may end up winning the NWA world title by the end of all this. The state of the NWA right now. They have fucking Tyrus wrestling for the NWA World Championship. The 10 pounds of gold. What a disgrace. Michael with the $1.99. First AEW live show saw Moxley bleed. A rare sight. Indeed. Deep Delicious Chicken. Saraya needs to bleed with Britt Baker. Get dirty. Tonic Blaze. Thank you, Tonic, for the $4.99. Random dream match for you. The Rock against Okada. Who goes over? The Rock and Okada. I mean, who goes over? Whoever is booked to win. That's who goes over. If I'm booking that match... if I'm booking that match, then Okada goes over. Deep Delicious Chicken. Tony Khan has to keep Private Party in AEW before their contracts expire. Isaiah and Mark Quinn can make money for AEW if the booking and marketing is there. I think Private Party could absolutely be a money-making tag team. They just have to be given the chance. They're still very young. Angel Silva, you are all going to roast me on this, but I'm telling you guys, Sheamus versus Big Show at Hell in a Cell 2012 was a damn good match. See, I don't see what is such a hot take about that. I remember people thinking that was a very good match. I don't think you're in the minority on that at all. If that's the year that I'm thinking of, they had a match at the Hell in a Cell show. I don't remember if that was the chairs match they had, though, but they had at least one very good pay-per-view match. It probably was on that show, so I would agree. Deep Delicious, I miss Brandy Rhodes as the Chief Brandy Officer. Devin from NJ, what is the greatest makeshift tag team of all time? You'd have to have Rock and Mankind in that conversation, I would think. Bob the Builder, if Tony Khan had to choose between Starks and Hobbs or Yuda and Garcia, he would for sure pick the latter, and I think that is one of his weaknesses. And that's a fair criticism. I think Starks and Hobbs would be my pick. So again, if I'm, we have a segment here called Be the Booker, which I don't know where we are on the likes. We may not be doing it tonight, but if I'm the booker, and we're going to be the booker, right? And you gave me this scenario and said, okay, you've got 4 young, hungry, up-and-coming guys. You can only pick 2 of them and really get behind them. Like maybe they're eventually the faces of your company. Who are you getting behind? Who are you going to push the hardest? Is it Starks and Hobbs or is it Yuda and Garcia? I would push Starks and Hobbs. But again, that's a perfectly fine question to debate. That's kind of the point I was making earlier. We can debate on who those young people would be. But the idea that, again, Tony Khan is at least taking these young names and trying to give them some rub from the more established talent, that's what you should be doing. That's exactly how you should be using those guys. Chris Jericho is only the Ring of Honor World Champion right now, I believe, to ultimately benefit Daniel Garcia. And that's perfectly fine. We can quibble over who the people should be. Again, if it's me, it's Starks and Hobbs all day long. X-Raven with the $10 super chat. In my opinion, if they insist on having the Ring of Honor title featured on TV, having Jericho get heat for burying Ring of Honor is the best way to build sympathy and interest. Is it a good way? I don't know, but it's definitely the best option. I like it. I mean, I like the idea. I just don't know how it's going to resonate with the audience, numbers wise. MizFan2598. Hi, Solo. Sorry if you already talked about this, but have you watched the new Halloween Ends trailer that came out recently, and are you excited to see it in a theater? I'm probably going to be watching it on Peacock, but I'm very excited for it. I've been waiting for it, and we're only a few weeks away, October 14th. I'll be streaming that night, so I probably won't see it until that weekend, but I did see the trailer, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing the movie. Whether I see it in the theater or not, though, is going to depend. It's just a pain in the ass. Drew Johnson, Hell in a Cell 97, HBK at his best. When he was on, man, there was really, at the time, there was really nobody better. He had some incredible matches in 97. EJ Slamp, Coolio's most underrated song is the Keenan and Kel theme. Yeah, that's right. He did do that, didn't he? I forgot about that. He did do the Keenan and Kel theme, I think. Also, my hometown is pronounced Joliet. Good reference for future mailbag questions. Well, I'm going to forget that. I'll tell you right now. I'm going to forget that. Look, I meet somebody in person 9 times out of 10. Within 5 minutes, I'll forget their name. It's horrible. But Joliet, I will try to keep that in the memory bank. Rizzo with the $9.99. I landed safely in San Antonio, and the only way I would not have watched is if you had those freaky smile people sitting by you tonight. Yeah, it's another movie I might have to check out, but I don't know if it's being released streaming or if it's just going to be in the theater or not. I don't know. Joseph Brooks. Hey, Solomonster, just wanted to share with you on my WWE 2K22 Universe mode, I made an AEW versus WWE pay-per-view. How did you think I did with my matches? I did Omega versus Reigns, the Young Bucks against the Usos, Lashley against Hobbs, Britt against Becky. I think those are some very good matches. I think you put together a pretty good card. Queen Fire Panda says, me, Bulu, Blissfan, Uffman, and Luis. That is a pretty stacked group if I do say so myself. Dibs on being the psycho of the group. Oh, I think you can all probably share in that title. But I mean that in the best possible way. Dr. Dakota Scorpio, my AEW ratings guess 0.97 views. What about yours? You know, they've been over 1 million now for about a month, maybe 5 weeks. I think I'm torn. I think either they do roughly 1 million again, or they do, like you said, just under 1 million. I don't think it's going to be much more than that. I actually, you know what? I think this is going to be an under 1 million week. I think I'm with you. If I had to venture a guess, I think that they do. My guess would be around 960,000 viewers. I'll go with that as my prediction for this Deep delicious chicken with flavor. The good son scenario. Save one and let the other go. Vince Russo or Kevin Dunn? I would let them both go. Why pick one? Who says I have to pick one? I just let go. And they both go flying off the edge. Then as he's falling, all you hear as he's falling is bro, like, you know, off in the distance, bro, and then you hear like splat. Yeah, I don't think I would bother with either one of them. King Bling Blah, have you ever felt burnout with the podcast or the streams? Every week. Every week of my life, I feel burned out. Every single week. Juan Ocampo, buy or sell? Dino Douche, Luchasaurus, or Pizza Douche? I'll go with Luchasaurus. I'll have to buy on Luchasaurus. Bob the Builder, building another super chat. Nothing against Yuda and Garcia, they are both great, but the fact that they are consistently getting main events over Wardlow, Hobbs, Starks, FTR, Miro, Andrade is wild. They've got to do a better job of just spreading them out. I agree. It's crazy that it's just absolutely crazy that when you really spell them out the way you did there in that super chat. I mean, even Starks, right? At least Starks got TV time tonight, but they gave him less than a minute. I mean, they've got to do, and I don't want to hear, well, they'll be on Rampage. I don't care about Rampage. I mean, I've gotten to the point where it's not a show that has been, booked as much of a priority, Grand Slam aside, because last week was a special week. Now, there's going to be a bunch of live Rampages in October. Let's see what Toni does with those. But Rampage is just, it's not a bad show. It's just not an exciting show. It's not really anything that I would tell people they have to go out of their way to watch. You want to feature people, they need to be featured on your A show. Your A show is Dynamite on Wednesdays. It's not Rampage on Fridays. Baby Moy El Anonimo. Date, marry, or kill? Trish, Lita, and Tori Wilson. Oof. Date, marry, or kill? Trish, Lita, and Tori Wilson. Wow. Man. Tough one. I would say I would date Lita. No, you know what? I'll tell you what. I would this is so tough. I would date Tori, I would marry Trish, and I would kill Lita. That's what I would. Ray Wrighton for the $9.99 super chat. What's going on, Ray? I missed you at the show on Saturday. It says, today, as of midnight, is my birthday, and I am happy to bring in 33 with me. Oh, that's very nice of you. I am very honored that you are ringing in your birthday with myself here this week. That's very nice. And happy birthday. Everybody wish Ray a very happy birthday. That's very cool. Rizzo. Now, bro. Come on, bro. You gotta save me, bro. Oh, my God. Bob the Builder, final note. I just think Tony Khan thinks that Yuda and Garcia are going to be better for them in the long run. I think that's a mistake, but it is his company. So I think we are caught up on your super chat. Some good ones. Some weird ones, but some good ones in there as well. Actually, I think Trish was in the hospital recently. I think she had an appendicitis, I think, attack with the appendix or whatever. So hopefully she's doing better now. Yeah, Bliss fan, it's been 2 weeks. Let's give it some time before we write off the whole Saraya thing. But again, the whole idea that she can be the face of change in that division. She could be. She could be the face of change in the women's division. But sending Sky Blue and Willow and Athena and Toni and saying, "Here's our women's division." That was funny to me. When she said, "Let's bring out the women" or bring out the women's division, and then they were the only ones who came out, I just laughed. I said, hey, well, what a hell of a women's division here. Not that Toni and Athena and even Willow, like, they're very good, but yeah, you got to look at the division as a whole here, and how that division is used going forward will really dictate how much of a change there really is. But she can only do so much if she's just going to come out and talk, and this was not even a good talking segment. Her promos are not going to be enough to carry her and make her any kind of real agent of change in this company. She's going to have to get involved. She's going to have to get physical. She's going to have to wrestle. If she can't get, obviously if a doctor says that she's not healthy enough to wrestle, I don't want to put her in the ring. But then why did Tony Khan give her all that money and sign her? I have to think that this is going to end with her being back in the ring. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to be much of a real difference maker in that division if you can't work with the people in that division. Drew Johnson says, Tori Wilson was so hot, bro. Give us a Willow. I made the comment on the show a while back. I think she came back for one of the Royal Rumbles, and I said Tori Wilson, when she was back in WWE in the day, absolutely was one of the most attractive women that they've ever had in that company. I mean, just a naturally just beautiful woman. So yeah, I've always been a big Tori fan. Not in the ring. I mean, her storylines, my God, the whole Al Wilson thing, what a fucking shit show that was. But no, just a naturally beautiful woman. Deep Delicious Chicken. The good son scenario, again with this. Save one and let the other go. Goldberg or Steve Austin. Come on. Steve Austin was, I can't even put into words how big of a star and how popular Steve Austin was at his time. And Goldberg was also very big in WCW. But of course, I'm going to go with Steve Austin. I'm going to go with Steve Austin. I'm going to go with the choice that Bret Hart would make. I'm going to think to myself, as I'm holding both of them on the edge of that cliff, I'm going to say to myself, what would Bret do? Right? WWBD. What would Bret do? And that's when Goldberg goes flying off the side of the cliff. Insanity's Queen Fire Panda says, officially representing insanity. Well, there you go. And thank you for the $5 super chat. Did I know that Coolio beat China in Fear Factor and Bud Bundy in Boot Camp? No, I did not. What the hell is Boot Camp? Is that some other reality show I never heard of? I did not know that. I did know that China was on Fear Factor. I did not know that David Faustino was on a show called Boot Camp. What is my favorite Bret Hart move not the sharpshooter? Well, we can't name anything he did once and never again. Can I? Well, I would name a cell. That corner turnbuckle, the chest first turnbuckle bump was always a favorite of mine. So that's not really a move. It's more of a sell. Marquand, 1976. What was the worst live wrestling show that you attended? I went to that Fatal 4-Way pay-per-view that WWE did once. They did one Fatal 4-Way pay-per-view at the Nassau Coliseum in, I think it was June of 2010. And I actually think Bret Hart might have been at that show. I think that was during the period where he was the Raw GM. There's a reason why they never did another one ever again. So I don't remember every Raw that I ever went to. I've been to a whole bunch of them, but that Fatal 4-Way show is probably pretty high up there on that list. And from the looks of it, we have achieved our goal for the night. So I applaud you guys. Congrats. We have hit our likes goal for tonight. Over 500 likes here on the live stream and counting. And we will, in fact, be doing Be the Booker here in just a second. Ricky Edmond, was The Rock heel turn in 1998 justified? I would say it was, yes. I think things worked out pretty well for the guy. He was right back to being a babyface after WrestleMania, but they wanted, a top heel to put with Austin at WrestleMania that year. Austin and Rock were the two most over guys in the entire company. So it did make sense. You already had an Austin. There was no higher for Rock to go. If Austin was going to be the champion and they wanted babyface against heel and not babyface against babyface, then it was the only logical option. We already have a Stone Cold. What do we do with Rock? We want to put Rock on top. We want to put Rock in the WrestleMania main event. We have to turn him heel. Corporate Rock is one of my favorite versions of The Rock. So, yeah, I'd say it worked out pretty well, actually. I think they made the right decision there. Corporate Rock, Hollywood Rock. Probably liked Hollywood Rock a little bit more. We didn't get enough of Hollywood Rock. Well, maybe he'll pop up in Be the Booker tonight. Let's find out.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to Be the Booker.
I don't remember, actually, if I have Hollywood Rock in here. I probably do. We've never landed on him before, but let's see. Be the Booker time here on this stream, and we will begin tonight with the men's Be the Booker. I know Rock is in here, Austin's in here, Kurt Angle, Undertaker, Triple H, Goldberg, Hogan, Hall, Nash, Warrior, Savage, Cena. They're all in here. The Gooker, Gobbledygooker, they're all in here. We begin, though, with Sheamus. Or as Pat McAfee would say, it's fight night! Shamo, future Intercontinental Champion. He's going to be going to war on the SmackDown season premiere next week with Walter and Sheamus on SmackDown for the Intercontinental title. I can already tell you what the match of the week is going to be next week. It's a nice belated birthday gift for me next week. We get to see Sheamus and Walter do their thing one more time. See who Sheamus is going to be getting into the ring. Maybe we'll land on Walter. Sheamus going one-on-one with Paul Heyman. Maybe if Paul Heyman was booking Sheamus, but not if Paul Heyman was wrestling Sheamus. That gets the buzzer. So now we do part 2. Let's book our second match of the night here. And we begin. Well, would you look at that? Would you look at who we landed on here in the Be the Booker segment tonight? It is Saraya. It is Paige. Call her whatever you want. That in that photo is Paige. So I have her wrestling before Tony Khan does. How about that? She's going to have a match here before she ever steps foot in an AEW ring in a match. Let's see who Paige is going to be stepping into the ring with. Maybe it'll be one of the AEW ladies. Maybe this could be a foreshadowing of a match that we will eventually get to see. It will be Paige going one-on-one with Velvet Sky. Well, I certainly hope that's not a match that we get to see. Well, let's try our luck with the tag team, shall we? Maybe we can end on a good note here, because it ain't going too well so far. We begin with the New Age Outlaws, the Road Dogg and Daddy Ass, as he is now called. He's a man of many names over his career. He's been Billy Gunn. He's been Mr. Ass. He's been the one Billy Gunn. He's been Billy from Billy and Chuck. He's been Cute Kip in TNA. And now he is Daddy Ass in AEW. A man of many names. So he'll be the New Age Outlaws taking on the New Day. Did we not get that match the last run that the New Age Outlaws had? I thought we did see the New Day again. Maybe not though. I don't remember now. The New Age Outlaws last run in WWE was probably 2013, 2014. I mean, was New Day even a thing at that point? I don't remember now. I think it was. Well, if not, we just booked it here. The New Day and the New Age Outlaws. At least we ended with a winner. I give that the bell. 1 out of 3. That's not too good. Oh, Rockabilly. Of course. How could I forget? I forgot Rockabilly. I think I tried to put Rockabilly out of my mind. But yes, he was Rockabilly as well. Tripod says, Buzz Velvet Sky in my office now. All right, Mr. Belding, calm down. Calm down. Yes, when I think of great wrestling matches, I'm sorry, I don't think of Velvet fucking Sky. Sue me. Hey, Thomas, what's going on? Thank you for the $2. What is wrong with Paige against Velvet Sky? It's not a match I care to see. Simple as that. Deep, delicious chicken with flavor. Is mayonnaise an instrument? What? It's a condiment. It's a condiment, not an instrument. I've never even heard that question before. Is mayonnaise an instrument? Not in any band that I ever played in. I used to play the clarinet many years ago. We didn't have a mayonnaise player in the band. It's a SpongeBob reference. Well, you can tell I'm not a SpongeBob viewer. What do you think? I sit around watching SpongeBob all day long? Think I have time to sit around and watch SpongeBob SquarePants? What's the matter with you? Dr. Dakota Scorpio, Paige against Lacey Von Erich would be better than Velvet Sky. No, it wouldn't. It would be far worse. Ms. Fan, horseradish is not an instrument either. Insanity's Queen Fire Panda, do you know the Muffin Man? No, I don't. I'm sure CM Punk does, but I don't. You know, I've heard a lot of rumors about SpongeBob, and I don't want to get into it, but you know, there's always stories going around about SpongeBob and what he's really like, you know, off the air and everything, and you know, weird things that he's done with children. I don't want to get into it. He's just a creepy guy. Shinakuma, do you like Motley Crue? Not really. Not really a big fan. Like I don't have any Motley Crue songs that I could sit here and tell you, oh, I love this song. Like, not really. We have a Motley Crue here in the chat, though. I can tell you that. Not a SpongeBob guy, but I was always a Beavis and Butthead guy. Which reminds me, actually, I haven't seen the new movie yet. I have to put that on my list. Winter's Paw. Who should be the White Rabbit's first victim? Carrot Top. I'm proud of that one. Insanity's Queen Fire Panda. Okay, Solomonster, since you're turning 90, what is the best 50s show? Oh, was Twilight Zone on yet in the 50s? Or was that the 60s? I go with the original Twilight Zone. Ms. Fan, SpongeBob shares a bank account with his snail. That tells you all you need to know about him. What was the other character on the show? On SpongeBob, there was like a secondary character. What's that character's name? It's a Beowulf. I mean, is there a new version of the Beavis and Butthead TV show? I thought it was a new movie, and then they were just releasing the old episodes on I guess it would be Paramount. Are there new episodes as well of the show, and do they have music videos? Patrick, that's the name of the okay. Patrick, right. Patrick and what is Patrick? What kind of creature is Patrick? Amiibo Guru, do you like the Gabagool? I love the Gabagool. I ran out the other day. I said to my lady, I said, where's the Gabagool? We're out of Gabagool. Go get me some Gabagool. It's on the Paramount streaming service. Oh, so there's a new show. Okay, wow. I didn't know. I just thought they were re-releasing the old episodes. But there was a new movie. So now that I know there's a new version of the show, I'm going to have to check this out. So Patrick is a starfish. Interesting. Hey, Drew, in the chat. What's going on? I see you. So on the new version, they react to music videos as well as YouTube videos. Interesting. Maybe they'll review one of my videos. Maybe they'll review one of my reviews and they'll have no idea what I'm talking about. And they'll say, this sucks. Change it. I would be honored. I would be honored if that happened. All right, guys, this has been fun. I learned a few new things I was not aware of in the chat. That's very good to know. But again, thank you for getting us to 500 likes plus here on the live stream. And we are going to be back live again on Friday night. We'll be covering SmackDown. I don't see the need to cover Rampage this week. So we'll cover SmackDown on Friday night. Again, next Wednesday, 2 shows. The latest watch along in the afternoon. And of course, Dynamite. we'll have the regular schedule next week. Raw Monday night, Dynamite Wednesday night, and SmackDown and possibly Rampage the following. Actually, next Friday is next Friday the one where they're doing Battle of the Belts, because I'm probably going to skip that. I think they're doing it back to back with Rampage, which is going to be 2 hours, ending at midnight. I'm not doing that, so I'm putting my foot down on this shit. Luis, Luis, you always have a knack for coming in right at the very end. You have an unbelievable knack for coming in right at the very end. Let me see here. I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Tripod. I got Tripod. I got Thomas. Did I get Ricky? Ricky, did I get you? I don't think I got Ricky. Ricky Edmond had a couple of super chats here. Was The Rock... Oh, I did get Ricky. Oh, but then he said, why was The Rock booed in SummerSlam 2002? Because Brock Lesnar was the in thing. Brock Lesnar was the next big thing. And they were in New York, and so the New York crowd is never going to be shy about letting you know what they think, and they could tell that Brock was going to be the guy. And they wanted to see the new guy. They wanted to see some fresh blood in the main event, and they cheered him. Simple as that. But Luis says, screw the flu. So I guess he is not feeling too well. So Luis, I'm sorry that you are under the weather, and I hope that you feel better. And Dakota, I got you. I already read yours before. Fire Panda, in all seriousness, and no, I won't call you old this time, what is your favorite show of all time? My favorite show of all time, my goodness. Oh my goodness, I have so many shows that I love. My favorite show of all time, though, wow. Man. I don't know. I don't know that I can narrow it down to just one, honestly. I mean, there's a lot of dramas. There's a lot of sitcoms. I could say The Shield. The Shield is definitely one of my favorites of all time, but there's been so many of them. I don't think I can narrow it down to just one. And delicious chicken with flavor. A false white rabbit reveal would anger people. Yes, it would. That's why it can't be anything other than a Bray Wyatt return, or else people are going to be very upset. Oh, here we go. Dr. Dakota said earlier, let's get 500 for Coolio. Well, we did. They did it for Coolio. We did hit 500. Fire Panda says, I think it is definitely Raw from 10 years ago. Kevin Dunn's Beaver. With a $2 super chat. Panda Express slaps harder than my stepdad. Oh, that's awful. But you're right, Panda Express is quite good. Panda Express is very good. Panda Express is it's very delicious. Yeah, I've had a couple of people tell me they've actually gone to Panda Express this week on account of me talking about it here on the streams. So I hope you enjoyed it. You're very welcome. Remember, orange chicken. Gotta try the orange chicken. Shinakuma, thank you for, I think Shinakuma just either renewed or he upgraded to Sound of Legend status as one of our channel members. So thank you, Shin. Oh, man. Oh, boy. West Coast James says, salud. I think that's our boy James Herrera, one of our channel members. What's going on, James? Yeah, Panda Express is great. I haven't been there in ages, but Panda Express is quite great. Oh, man. Well, anyway, thank you all again for all the support tonight. Always very interesting hanging out with all you creatures of the night. I will see you guys Friday night for the SmackDown stream. And again, thank you to the last super chat goes to Kevin Dunn's Beaver with the $2. Thank you to Kevin Dunn's Beaver. Actually, now Fire Panda gets the last word. It says, "No sleep for you, Daddy Monster." You know, I always say I'll sleep when I'm dead, but Kevin Dunn's Beaver apologizes for his father. Well, you shouldn't have to pay for the sins of your father. Stephen Chappa says, Seinfeld, table for 4. Seinfeld, table for 4. It's a great episode. Thomas, I would like to see Charlotte Flair against Serena Deeb. Random, but I think that would actually be a very good match. You know, it's weird. Charlotte has been gone for... How long has she been gone for? Charlotte's been gone probably for like 6 months now, and I almost didn't even notice. I just didn't even notice until you just mentioned her name, that she was still missing. I thought she'd be back by now. Didn't even notice. I'm looking ahead to like War Games at Survivor Series. I booked the whole thing on the podcast the other day. I said you got Becky and Bianca on one side with, whoever else it was that I named. And then you got Ronda and Shayna and probably Damage Control on the other side. Never even gave a thought to the idea that, hey, Charlotte Flair might be in that match. I love it. Nobody noticed that she was gone. Except Ray. Where's Ray? It's Ray's birthday, where we can't have any Charlotte slander here on the streams. But Ray probably noticed, but yeah, I just didn't even think of it until I just heard her name mentioned. She's in catering. She hasn't been around, believe me. If she was there at TV every week, she would not be hanging out in catering doing nothing. Hey, maybe Charlotte is the White Rabbit. I just blew your mind. And Fire Panda says, if the White Rabbit isn't Bray, then it is a bust. I just told you who it was. I said the White Rabbit is going to be Charlotte Flair. And you are going to see the internet wrestling community burn itself to the ground. Oh my God. Can you imagine if the White Rabbit turned out to be Charlotte Flair? Oh my God. What that reaction would be like. We'd have fucking 3,000 people on the stream that night, ranting and raving and sending in super chats left and right. Now I kind of want it to be her. All right, thank you guys. Everyone, have yourselves a good night. Stay safe. And don't forget that we were graced tonight by the presence of Kevin Dunn's Beaver. I'll see you on Friday. Dr. Dakota Scorpio gets the final word here and says the White Rabbit is Brandy Rhodes. Well, I think that people would probably be equally upset whether it was Brandy or Charlotte. So, yeah, why not? If you want to be a masochist and see everybody tear each other to shreds, then sure, why not? Then the White Rabbit can be Brandy Rhodes. I'll see you guys on